Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Unhinged Motorsports Podcast. As always, I'm Tyler,
And I'm Josh.
and we had a very exciting but also very tragic weekend in racing. And we have a plethora of things we want to talk about, so I'll let Josh take it off where he wants to.
Yeah, it's a shame that's probably one of the best race weekends we've had so far this year. Gets marred in a little bit of tragedy, as I think a lot of race fans have seen by now, but just in case you haven't, the Nürburgring 24-hour qualifiers, Saturday's race, which is the only one that takes place later on in the night. Unfortunately, never even got to the nighttime because about 20, 30 minutes into the race, we had a pretty
Huge
horrific,
crash.
a pretty horrific crash. A really fast part of the track, heavy braking zone. Car spilled some oil, and before there was really a chance to warn drivers, a massive accident happened, and it's a shame because if it happens at a different time in the race, that doesn't happen. But because it was so early and the pack was still so close together, you have a lot of cars around each other. Unfortunately, a bunch of cars went off,
Seven to be exact.
and pretty much everyone involved was injured. Unfortunately, that also involved a fatality, which is horrific to see. It's sad to see. You knew when they red flagged the race.
Something bad happened.
Yeah, because they don't red flag races at the Nürburgring. If there's a red flag, the only times we've had red flags are weather related, mainly fog. When the fog gets too thick, last year there was a power outage for a bit, and that caused the red flag. But you very rarely see a red flag for an incident on track. So when there was a red flag and there was no information coming out, it was very quiet. You started getting the feeling the more time passed and there was nothing being said that something really bad happened.
Yeah.
And then we
And
found out, all right, there's a wreck involving several drivers. And you hear, all right, there's helicopters coming in. Unfortunately, those of us who've been around motorsport a long time, that's where your brain starts going. Your
yep.
brain starts going, "Oh no, we've had a very serious wreck. Either someone badly injured or worse." And unfortunately, it was the or worse, and several drivers were injured. Pretty much everyone involved in the wreck. I think outside of the Manthai car, which came very late to the incident. I think everybody else who was involved in the accident ended up in the hospital. Precautionary. The rest of the drivers had non-life threatening injuries, but I mean it was bad and it
Yeah.
sucked.
We lost what I would consider to be a veteran of the Nordschleife, which he was racing there for 20 years. So it wasn't a rookie mistake. He knew that track.
No,
He
he was one of what, for those who don't know how a lot of the Nordschleife works, it is you have people who that's all they race. That's their racing career. They race that track and that's all they do. And off time they take their regular cars around the track. Like people who are veterans of that track, and that's their life. And unfortunately, this was one of those people. And it did put a big cloud over the weekend. The
It
race
really
on
did.
Sunday went ahead after a minute of silence, and what I thought was a pretty nice gesture and a moment with his team, trying to be respectful as possible with racing the next day. I know some people weren't a fan of racing the next day, but I don't know. In my opinion, if you are someone who has put your life into racing, especially that track, you are a show must goes on kind of person.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was disrespectful. I think if he was here to give an opinion, he would have wanted racing to continue, because that's one of those places where you really know the danger, because it is one of the most dangerous tracks in the world.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it special. It's like the Isle of Man with bikes. It's a track that part of what makes it incredible is it hasn't been tamed by modern rules.
Yeah. It's
It
one of
is
my favorite tracks on the planet.
it is my favorite track on the planet. I think it is the greatest racetrack man has ever created, and I think it is a modern centerpiece. If you want to prove that you are a great driver, go there and win. You want to prove you're the greatest, go there and win. Because if you can win there, I consider you a great driver,
Yeah.
because it takes everything to win there. You can't just be fast and win. That's not good enough. You have to be everything that's required of a driver. So to me, that is the greatest track in the world. And we did get to see a bit of that on Sunday. The race felt a little bit tame, minus some Max Verstappen moments.
Going four wide.
Jesus, that dude,
It's
man.
crazy. He's insane. And I was at my girlfriend's all weekend, and I was showing her a few clips, and I was like, I listen, I know you don't like Max, but like you can't sit here and say he's not one of the best drivers in the world. Like, look at this. This is insane.
Watching him navigate traffic was wild, because he basically used traffic to go from first to or from fourth to first in 2 laps. And it was incredibly impressive. And then had another epic battle with Hasa, that this time him in front, fending off a driver from behind. And it was really incredible to watch. Second time those two have just went at it on that track. I really hope that we get to see a longer version of it in the 24. Unfortunately, Max's team had to spend about a half an hour in the pits. They had a splitter failure that they don't really know exactly what happened. Uh, Kind of sucked for them, because when it happened, Max had a nearly 40-second lead on the field at that point. It was going to come back a little, because they kind of pit a lap early, so eventually that would come back a little bit, but it was still a pretty good lead that looked like they were going to kind of walk their way to the win, and then had some Nürburgring luck. But overall, I don't even want to say it was a fun race, because it was.
It was clouded,
Yeah,
obviously.
the cloud was hanging over. The team that I think is getting tired of being called a YouTube team, because I saw their vlog take a little bit of a poke at it. uh, Jimmy Broadbent and the Fanatec team. They finished first in class again. I'm actually really surprised how well they've adapted to the Porsche Cup car because that is a very, very difficult car to drive. It's basically the GT3 car, but with less aero. So it doesn't handle quite as well. And my God, the way they've adapted to that car. I am extremely impressed with those guys. And I know they went through a really hard camp in the off season to slim down and to get in really good shape to be able to drive that car because it's a very physical car. But that whole team, the way they've adjusted, I mean, you have three sim racers and a Nordschleife, a veteran in that car, and they have just been absolutely amazing. They've they've won their class every race, and if they weren't using an alternative fuel, would have been on the podium overall in Porsche Cup against pro drivers, which is incredible. So hats off to those guys. I really look forward to what they can do in the 24 hour. They'll obviously go in there feeling really, really confident with the results that they had.
I only really have one major gripe, and it's with the media uh, portraying Max in every single title of the fact that there was a driver that passed this weekend at Nords, and it
Yeah.
it really, really, really pisses me off. And it's not. I'm not mad at Max because it's not Max's fault. Max would not want this. It's the media's fault. And the thing is they use Max Verstappen to get clicks, but also in the headline never mention the driver's fucking name. It's
Yeah,
like,
it was really irritating, especially you'd see articles shared in the picture as Max's car,
yeah, yeah,
and headlines were either Max's run halted by this wreck, or saying that a driver passes, but it's like a picture of Max's car, and it's like,
or
fuck
one
you
of the ones that
guys.
one of the ones that I saw was like driver dies during Nordschleife, race with Max Verstappen, and it's like Max wasn't even in driving at that point. Also, like, give the fucking dude some credit. Give give him the peace. Give him the recognition. Give the driver that passed. And the only reason I'm not saying his name, I know his name. The only reason I'm not saying it is I don't want to say it wrong and do any type of injustice or discredit to him at all. So I'd rather just not try at this moment. Um, Max had nothing to do with it, and it sucks that I will say that that's the bad part of the Max Verstappen effect on things, to where he instantly becomes a clickbaitable name.
But it also makes you understand why Max hates the media so much.
Yeah, yeah,
The dishonesty and the backwards way that the media deals with anything involving Max or any top driver. It's frustrating, it's annoying, and we all hate it.
yeah. On a good note, though, Toyota's return to WEC with their Evo package looked really, really fucking good.
Yeah. Toyota struggled under the new rules, and the car that they had just it wasn't it. they were able to hold on to a drivers' championship a couple years ago, but barely, and only with some luck in the last race in Bahrain that let them hold on to that. This was Toyota looking like Toyota used to, and also marked an incredible number. So that was Toyota's 100th race. They have won 50.
That's insane.
And, I think their problems over the last 3 years kind of make you forget how dominant Toyota has been as a team. And then you have a race like Imola where really good strategy got them out front with the 8 car, which is uh, Buemi, Hartley, and Hirakawa. And man, woof. Hirakawa and Brendan Hartley especially. Brendan Hartley had a mega shift in that car. Oh man, was that boy on it? And nothing away from Hirakawa. Hirakawa was amazing too. Both of them together, they really did everything right in that race. And then Sebastian Buemi, arguably the best driver on the team, was able to just come in and just have a mission. Hey, don't lose this big lead. We got you. And the second car with DeFries, Kobayashi, I don't know who the fourth or third driver is for that car anymore. But they were able to get a podium. And, it is kind of nice to see Nick DeFries successful again. And it really shows that, sometimes Formula One is unfair to drivers. Because
Yeah.
Nick DeFries is doing well at Toyota. Yes, the 7 car still lags behind the 8 car. They had different strategies and it worked out better for the 8 car, but the 7 was kind of always behind them this weekend, whether in qualifying or in the race. They just couldn't quite match the pace. But a podium is a massive win for them considering the struggles of last year. And part of that being watching Ferrari step on their own feet.
Which seems to be categorically correct given how they handle things in F1 too. So
yeah, but normally the Ferrari WEC team has been immune to that, and that's kind of been the joke, that they do all the things their F1 team can't figure out. But a drive-through penalty for the second Ferrari car really hurt their chance to pull a similar strategy to what Toyota was able to do, because for a while.
Hold on. Talking about penalties. I sent this in the group chat. Did you see at the Nords race that a driver? I sent it in the group chat. I lost the article before I could send it, but I sent a message in the group chat of a driver at the Nords this weekend, second race, was going 201 kilometers per hour through a double yellow. He lost his Nords license, and the team got fined.
So that was actually in qualifying.
Really?
Yeah. He's in a lot of trouble. So there's a lot of different penalties they can add. He got caught twice speeding in code 6.
Really?
He got his license completely revoked. Last
immediately, he could not. After that, he could not drive. It was immediate, with immediate effect.
Yeah, which isn't rare. As speaking of Jimmy Broadbent's team, that happened to Steve Brown last year, where he got disqualified and his license taken for a race for speeding in a code 60. They do not play around with code 60s. You get caught speeding in a code 60, you're in a lot of trouble. But
Is
this
it a
was,
permanent license revoke?
it depends on the incident. So for Steve, his wasn't horrible, so he got a one race ban.
For this guy, I feel like
This one,
it
not
sounded
on,
like it was permanent.
well, he got his license completely taken. He will have to redo his entire permit. And it sounds like there's going to be a suspension period before he's allowed to take the permit test again.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, that's a fuck around and find out moment.
And that's the thing about Nords is Nords has its own rules that are separate from every racing series. They are their own governing body.
And they take it seriously.
And you can see why, because the later that day we have a horrendous wreck.
Yeah.
And that was in regular racing. You know, code 60s are code 60s for a reason. That is the biggest slowdown they have, and that usually means a barrier is being repaired, or there are recovery vehicles on track, or emergency vehicles on track.
And for the average listener, I'll put it in a layman's terms. So the guy was going 201 kilometers per hour through a double yellow, code 60, which is their
You're supposed to be
mandatory
going
speed
60.
limit. Yeah, your mandatory speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour. Like, you can't go any faster.
And
this dude was doing 201.
The car, most of the cars actually have a button on their wheel to automatically slow them down to the speed of a code 60,
and it limits their engine.
Yeah, and there was an interesting incident that happened in NLS2 where, speaking of Broadbent's team again, Misha had to put on his pit limiter, which was 5 miles an hour slower, because their code 60 button was kind of finicky. So he had to use their pit limiter instead, which was 5 miles an hour slower, just to make sure that they didn't violate a code 60 during the race. So it's that big of a deal. And to be that far over
is insane.
Yeah, it is reckless. And, you know, it's not just the stewards there that don't appreciate it. It's everyone involved.
Yeah, it could be super dangerous.
That pisses the other drivers off, the other teams, the marshals.
You could come up on a driver going 60 kilometers an hour, and you're going 201. That's catastrophic.
Or you come across medical personnel or marshals or track workers on track.
Yeah.
Because that's why you have a code 60. You have a code 60 because there are people on track.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's stupid. That's how you kill somebody. And it's reckless. And yeah.
So for listeners in the U.S., 60 kilometers an hour is 37 miles an hour in the U.S.
Yeah. You're supposed to be going very slow. Very slow.
Very slow.
But aside from that, back to WEC.
Yeah, there was a point in WEC I wanted to bring up, but I'll let you finish.
Ferrari getting their drive-through penalty on their car that was running in second, because it was a Ferrari Toyota front row, and the second Ferrari put on soft tires to get a good launch while the Toyota was running hard, was able to get into second place and could kind of play a game to keep that lead up, gets a drive-through penalty. And then later in the race, that allowed Toyota to play that same game where the number 7 car was able to get in second place and kind of back it up a little bit and give the 8 a nice gap that they didn't lose the rest of the race. And that probably isn't able to happen if Ferrari doesn't step on their own tail in that situation.
Yeah. I
What'd
want to
you
give
think
some
of
flowers.
Oh, you're probably going to talk about who I was going to ask you about.
Ask your question. I'm curious.
What'd you think about Logan Sargent's debut in GT3?
Honestly, I want to give him some flowers. You and I talked very heavy shit about Logan Sargent when he was in F1. Very heavy shit. And actually, he was not the one that got replaced that we thought would, like, somebody else got replaced before him in that season when we thought Logan would be the first one. I think you can go back a year.
Lawson.
And we put, yeah, yeah. We thought Lawson would stick around longer than Sargent.
Yeah.
And we you could actually go back a year or a little bit more at this point and listen to that episode. I think it was like the 2025 preseason predictions episode. We thought Sargent wasn't going to make it 2 races, and he actually beat out Lawson. But Sargent had his debut in GT3, and he finished P8, which, given his career in F1, is really good. Like really, really good. Consider
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
never got close to P8 in F1 ever.
And he was involved in a pretty good street fight for positions from three, position 3 to about 9, and maybe even 10 at some points, was just a street fight between cars. Man,
Yeah.
it was really a great battle to watch. I My only gripe with wet coverage is they spend a little bit too much time on the hypercar class and not enough time on the GT class. It was a little bit better
I'd
this
agree.
time around, but I still feel like there were some battles in the GT3 class that I watched on the timing screen that I would have liked to see what actually happened. And especially that battle between third and 10th in the GT3 class, because it seemed like every time the camera went to those cars, it was just a back and forth battle where you really didn't know who was going to finish where. And then it looked like, then it started raining, and you were wondering if the rain was going to get heavy or not. And it just kind of stayed off. But it was a really interesting end of the race. I kind of feel bad for Logan because I think that's a tough first race, because it's a very, I don't think he's used to so much contact.
Yeah. I will say that Dark
He
Horse
got beat
Ford
up a
looks
little
good.
bit. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you know my
That
love for
Dark Horse looks good. And
the
I don't like
Mustang
Ford.
GT3. Oh, I love the
I don't
Mustang
like Ford,
GT3.
but that car looked really good.
I
Looked
am
really
really
good.
really excited for Le Mans because I feel like that's the race Mustang might be able to win this year. You know the some of the tracks like Imola are a little bit hard on that car, but Le Mans, when they can just open up that powerful engine that they have, say who gives a damn about downforce, and just floor it, they might have a pretty good chance of doing something good at Le Mans.
How do you feel about Logan Sargent in Hypercar next season?
I mean, based on the success of other former F1 guys, we were just talking about Nick DeFries. How many people looked worse in F1 than Nick DeFries?
True.
He's a race winner in hypercar. He just got on the podium. Sebastian Buemi was an F1 washout. Brendan Hartley, F1 washout. Kobayashi made it a little bit in F1, not much. DaCosta, F1 washout. God, most of these guys are Red Bull Academy guys. Jesus.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
I'm just thinking about that. DaCosta, DeFries, Buemi, Hartley. all of all Red
Yep.
Bull Academy guys.
Yep.
Buemi,
Yep.
who's still sponsored by Red Bull. Weirdly,
Yep.
Hartley isn't anymore, which I find odd because he used when he first was running for Toyota, he was. Now he's no longer. But Buemi is still a Red Bull guy.
Yeah.
But you look at the success of a lot of the ex open wheel guys, and I just think the hypercar works for them because it's very similar in its tricky behaviors to an F1 car. But I think it handles more like more controllable and something that's a little bit more fun for them. And I think that's why you see a lot of those guys succeed really well. So once it comes to hypercar, like Sargent could be awesome because let's not forget Sargent was good in F2.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was horrible in F2.
It's not like he got the Lance Stroll pass.
Well, but
Don't don't even go on the Lance Stroll
Lance
spiel.
Stroll was good in F2. Lance Stroll was good in F3. Lance Stroll had an amazing career before F1. I know people hate to hear it because they don't like Lance Stroll, but look it up.
I
Fucking Google
know.
it.
I know.
Lance
But
Stroll
now
had a
it's
good career.
but
And
now
if you
it's
put
more.
Lance Stroll and Weck, as much as we laughed and shit on him for what happened in GT World Challenge, let's not forget he was also running very close to the leader's pace.
I
His
think
problem wasn't speed. His problem was, his teammates were not good.
I think
And the
my
blue
problem with
flag penalties.
yeah, I think my problem with Lance is the nepotistic side of things.
But that's
Because that
F1.
see yes, it is. But I can
F1's
definitely
nepotism.
see.
Look at Arthur Leclerc. Arthur
Yeah,
Leclerc is horrible. Arthur Leclerc wishes he was Logan Sargent. Arthur Leclerc is probably going to be in Indy next year. Why? Because his last name. He was driving for Prema in F2. Why? Because of his last name.
yep. But
Arthur Leclerc didn't do anything to earn or deserve that. He doesn't have any results that say, oh, I should be in a top team. That's what happens.
it
Mick
is.
Schumacher.
Well, but the thing is that their dad didn't buy the teams to give their son a seat. And my thought process is the second Aston Martin
Okay,
seat.
okay, but at the
Can I can
same
I
time,
can I finish? Can I finish?
yeah, but I'm going to yell at you.
That's fine. You can yell at me, but let me finish. Otherwise, I'll yell at you. That second Ashton seat would be so much better served with somebody along Alonso. And not in every regard. It's not like that would push Ashton into the top 10. There's no fucking way. That car sucks ass. And what I also want to say is I don't think Lance is a bad driver. I don't think he's a good driver in F1. I think Lance would be better in like WRC or some type of IMSA series or some type of WEC series. I think Lance would fucking dominate. My problem is Lance has a seat in Formula One and he's not performing, and it's been the case for several years because his father bought the team. And it's just not to say that a second veteran driver, a second rookie would make that seat any better. I'm not saying that. I can't think of a person that could come in and replace Lance Stroll that would take that car any further because they've got Alonso, and Alonso is dragging that car. I think Lance would be good in other series. I don't think he's good in F1.
Okay, now here's my counterpoint. If his dad doesn't buy the team is dead and a bunch of people are out of work. And one of the greatest legacies in F1 of a team dragging themselves up goes away. Because Force
Yeah,
India
but
was going out of business. Their owner had been arrested for fraud. And you had an entire team that was about to go out of business. At the time, Lance Stroll had a seat at Williams that went from a team that he was able to get podiums for to a team that was finishing 2 laps down at Monaco. And his dad figured, screw it, with the amount of money I'm paying for sponsorship for Williams, I could own Force India. And that's what he did. And I will never look, I can't stand Lance Stroll or Lawrence Stroll.
Neither.
But Lawrence Stroll saved an entire company from going out of business and a bunch of really qualified people from losing their jobs.
Would you be mad if Lance got replaced?
No.
Good, because my thought process is, even though his dad owns the team, why can't they have a
But-
conversation and
but
he
my-
walked away?
Yeah, my point was, I hate that people are like, oh, because his dad bought the team. It's like, yeah, but his dad buying the team is why there weren't a bunch of unemployed people.
Yeah, no, I get that side. I'm 100% on board with that side of it.
And
My thought
Force
process,
India had such a history that it would have been terrible to lose that history.
Yeah,
Because they did incredible things, whether it was Sergio Perez and him punching up several times to get podiums, like in Baku. Ocon had some great performances once it turned to Racing Point. Hulkenberg, like, Force India did a really good job of punching above their weight. They also had a lot of problems, and now that it's Aston Martin, they have even more problems because they got away from the ethos of what Force India was, which was making the most out of the least, to being the team who overspent for things they don't understand how to work. And
no,
I have a very interesting question for you too,
okay.
and this ties in with WEC and Formula One.
Okay.
Has Adrian Newey lost his touch? Because we now know part of the problem with the Aston Martin car is actually the chassis. There's a big problem with the chassis. It's overweight and it's not optimized. We see the Aston Martin Valkyrie, both in WEC and IMSA, on the struggle bus. And this is year 2 into that project. And normally with the hypercar program, the second year is you're up and running and competitive, and they're not.
We also know that the car wasn't exactly engineered to fit the engine properly, which is frightening considering the Honda Ashton move was before Honda left Red Bull. Like, announced and like, this is what we're doing.
I just wonder if Adrian's kind of lost what made him Adrian.
It's hard to say, because all we know of Adrian is what made him Adrian when he's at Red Bull. He's at a completely different team.
No, see, I'll go deeper than that though, because I know his IndyCar history and his much deeper history of what he's done. He has always produced winners everywhere he's went. And this is the first time I'm watching Adrian produce cars that suck. And not just because of the engine. This is not all the fault of the Honda engine. There are legitimate problems with the chassis of the Aston F1 car. And if you look at the Aston Martin Valkyrie, that car has problems that they cannot seem to figure out. In IMSA, it's the worst car. In WEC, it's not the worst, but it should be punching better, much higher than it is, given the Heart of Racing team is a very accomplished team that know what they're doing. You're not talking about some amateur outfit. That should be higher. And it's starting to make me question, like, has technology gotten to a point where Adrian doesn't have the same magic that he used to have? I mean,
It could be very
he's getting up
plausible.
there.
Yeah, it could be very, very plausible. I don't want to get super off topic because there's two other series that we want to cover. I'm not trying to cut that off. I think that's a very interesting conversation. Maybe we could revisit it in a future episode. I think that would
I
actually be
blame
really
you
good.
for starting with Lance Stroll and get me off topic.
That's fair. I'll take the blame. I'll take the blame. You didn't yell at me though, so I'm you know. I think when you heard me out, it you didn't want to yell at me as much. Maybe. I don't know.
In theory.
But there is a Tyler out there that is absolutely crushing it right now.
And I don't know if you saw the announcement. He also brought Rockstar Energy back to NASCAR.
Did he? Was that pre or
They just
post race?
pre-race it got announced that Rockstar Energy made a deal with 2311 to sponsor Tyler Reddick.
Let's go. Let's go.
Which is very interesting because Monster has kind of been a
2311's main thing.
well, they've been a partner of Gibbs and 2311. Uh, Not an extreme partner, but they've been a partner. Uh, a bigger partner of Gibbs, they sponsor.
Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, the big sponsor of him.
Yeah,
But
54. Let's go. Not really, actually.
but it is interesting because now you have the three major energy drink brands back in NASCAR. You have Red Bull with Trackhouse, Monster kind of assorted through a couple of drivers, and now you have Rockstar coming in with Tyler Reddick, who in kind of a half miracle gets his fifth win of the year to continue dominating a year after getting no wins at all and starting to have questions about if he should still be driving for 2311. And boy, I don't know what he did in the off season, but it worked.
Is he in his Max Verstappen era or Lewis Hamilton era?
I think he's in his Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson era right now,
That's a more equatable term for NASCAR.
where he is just at so many different tracks showing he's the dude this year.
Even Tony
And
Stewart could be included in that conversation, though.
to a point, but I don't think he dominated the way Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon did when they were winning championships.
That's true.
A-
I
And
I, I
that,
just speak because he was my favorite.
but also when you look at it, some of their best seasons, you're talking, 10 wins. He's halfway there already. And we're not even to the summer.
Yeah, we're what 7 races in.
It's it's wild how good he is. And I mean 2311 in general are really good. He's the only one who's gotten wins for 2311, but they have been extremely good. If Bubba doesn't have his little mind fuck at Martinsville, he'd still be in the top 5 of points, but he's still in the top 10 of points.
Yeah, he
All
did.
the 20
He
all the
did really
2311
good.
cars, all 4 2311 cars, because this was one of the races that Heim raced, all of them finished in the top 15.
Yeah, yeah. I
That
was actually
team,
telling my girlfriend that like Bubba didn't Bubba
Bubba's really only had one Bubba race.
so far
And
this season.
unfortunately, that was Martinsville. And I think it was a frustration because that's a race he thought he could win. And things just kept going wrong. And he just.
I
It's
mean,
so easy to get frustrated at Martinsville and just overshoot the corner. And boy, did he do that. And but I think he's getting better at not overdoing it when he doesn't have a car that can win. And I think that's something you saw yesterday at Kansas, where Bubba didn't have a car that could win. They couldn't really get that car dialed in. It seemed to always be on the tight or loose side. It could never fully get going. A couple times he'd get in the top five, but wouldn't be able to keep it. But he didn't overdo it. Didn't overdrive it. Didn't tear up the right front, and was able to come home with a solid finish. Got some points. Really, with this chase format, ideally you want to end the season in the top five.
Yeah.
If you can end the season in the top five, you are in great position headed into the chase. So I think right now that's his mission. And that's really what you have to do. Just stack solid finishes.
I want to say that Kansas was an absolutely incredible race to watch. Like,
Kansas always delivers, man. It's one of my favorite tracks. There's
it
so
was
many
it was
lines.
so
It's
good.
so much fun.
It was so good, and like it was nice between because Reddick started in pole and finished in pole, obviously. But like there were like Denny led the race for well over 100 something laps.
Yeah, that looked like either Denny or Kyle's race to win, and Reddick kind
Yeah,
of came out of nowhere towards the end. And really, that last pit stop helped him a lot.
I wish I had video of my reaction during that last like 4 lap
Oh,
sector because I was with my girlfriend
that
and we were
caution
watching it
saved
together.
his life, man.
Oh, dude, that
Running out of
caution saved
gas,
Reddick.
getting into the
Yep.
wall.
I sent it in the group chat too. I sent it in the group chat before it all panned out. Like
Well, and
as the
then
caution came out, I sent it in the
well, and
group
then
chat.
what was important is once they pit, he has the number one pit stall, so he can get out quicker than anyone. So it goes from being a disaster where he has no chance to win to where now he has the best chance to win. And to Denny's credit, Denny got a great fire off. And Reddick didn't. Reddick looked like he was in trouble. And I don't know what happened in that last few corners, but
He
holy
got
shit.
fucked up by Kyle. He got fucked up by Kyle. But
Reddick just
also,
came out of nowhere. And it was just like, no
I
way, no way.
I really want to put it out there, and the only person that can corroborate this is my girlfriend. Because as Denny was pitting, I was like, he's not going to take all fours. He's going to get gas and take 2 tires on the right side, and he did. And that was before he even got to the pit stall. And I was pumped. I was like, I understand NASCAR strategy. Let's go. But I think Denny got fucked up by Larson, 100%. Like Denny admitted it in the post race interview where he's like, I fell for the same trick I fell for last year.
Yeah, you let Larson
And
get to the inside, but
yeah, and get it, well. And Reddick is a highliner. He loves running that high line there at Kansas. That was his entire race was in the high line. And
and
so
he did a great job of just finding a way to weave through with speed when it looked like he was out of it.
yeah,
Because it wasn't like he just took off and got it. No, he did not get a great restart. And it looked like he was kind of screwed. And then they took the white flag, and all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere. He was back in like fourth, fifth place, and just out of nowhere. And that's what I love about Kansas, because you have so many different lines that everyone's running that crazy stuff can happen.
yep. And
And
they
can
can switch
happen
lines at any
quickly.
point.
I mean, last year so the fall race last year when I like to think this race is karma for Denny for what he did to Bubba last year at Kansas when he decided to take his own car out when he needed a win to stay in the playoffs. I like to think this is a little bit of karma for that, because in that race, what was it, Larson who won that race coming from like ninth place?
I think it was Larson. Yeah,
And had fresh tires and weaved through, and then when Denny pushed Bubba up the track, just snuck underneath both of them and won the race. Which is still why I think Denny was so stupid in that occasion, because if he doesn't reckon to Bubba, it's either him or Bubba that wins the race. Either way, great for their teams. By running Bubba up the track like he did, he guaranteed that neither of them was going to win the race and let Kyle Larson get it. And that probably helped ruin Denny's championship.
definitely.
Wish he could
It's
have
it's
that
it,
one. But
it's so
regardless,
interesting.
that's last year. But that's what makes Kansas so much fun.
It
I
is.
love I love these mile-and-a-half tracks that have multiple lines where you can run as low as possible and as high as possible and still be fast. And you can run pretty much anywhere in between. Michigan's a track like that. Vegas can get like that. Homestead's like that. I love these tracks because it's so much fun to watch this multi-groove racing. And at times you don't know what's going to happen when you have finishes like that. I mean, Kansas is one of those places that it just always delivers. I said it a bunch of times coming into this race. It's my favorite track. And there's a reason it's my favorite track, because almost every time you get a banger.
Yeah.
Very occasionally you don't. Very occasionally you'll have a guy who gets out to a lead and wins the race. But most of the time you get a banger. And
Yeah.
that's what this one was.
I just find it super interesting. Again, not to I don't want to continue to reference my girlfriend, but I spent the whole weekend with her. So she's like, when we first started dating, you're like, I'm not super into NASCAR. That's what I said. And I mean, I've watched NASCAR my entire life, but I was never like diehard. I was earlier as a child, like Tony Stewart or Die, or Jeff Gordon or Die, like very much into them. But that was way younger. But now, at this moment, I am way more excited about NASCAR than I am about Formula One. And that is such a weird flip for me. Because last season in F1, I was not. And this season, I'm like, let's fucking go. Like, I have my drivers. I know exactly what happens. And obviously, it helped that I did your race sim that you have, where I got to race a few tracks and like understand lines and how things work. Like, I think the feel of it really helped my brain wrap around like how actually difficult it is to drive a NASCAR in an
And
oval,
I think that's the thing people don't understand is NASCAR seems really simple.
but it's
And then
not.
get in a sim and drive one of the cars and try to win a race. It's
Yeah, it's
not as
fucking
simple as
hard.
it looks. It is so much about touch
Yep.
and
And
not
draft.
overdoing things. Yeah, but and getting out of the dirty air when you need to,
Yeah.
and being able to search for different lines, being able to find where the grip is, not overdoing your tires. Like there is
For
so much to it.
for me, it was braking. For me, my struggle was braking. I knew the line that I wanted to take. I know what line I'm really good in. For me, when it comes to transitioning tracks, like I got second at Daytona and I got 23rd at Bristol. And that transition from Daytona's braking to Bristol's braking
Well, yeah, because
was
Daytona, the only time you're
incredibly
braking is
difficult.
not to hit the guy in front of you.
Yeah. And like that for me was incredibly challenging because like it's not even just like the braking itself, it's like exactly where you have to brake. There are very specific points heading into the turn where you have to brake, and if you don't, you're fucked, and if you brake too early, you're also fucked.
Well, and also the thing for me, and I before my incident, I spent a lot of time on iRacing doing oval stuff. It's my favorite thing to do on there, and the ability to save tires matters so much because it is
Yep.
so easy to eat up your tires. And you always watch it when you see somebody who's like newer to oval racing, where it's like you can always tell the guys or girls who are, because they'll jump out to the front of the pack and they'll just go and it's like, all right, see you in 20 laps. 20 laps later, you're driving by them as they can't keep that car down anymore, and they're going, 5 miles slower than you in the corner because they've just ate up that right front. Or it's even tracks like Kansas. You don't really have to brake at Kansas; you just let off the gas. And similar to how it is at Charlotte or how it is at Vegas, there's these tracks where you don't even have to brake, you just have to let off gas. But being able to gently go into turns and not be aggressive and save that right front tire can decide if 30 laps into a run if you're the person making moves or not. We were talking about Ty Gibbs winning at Bristol. That was the big thing that he did, is
Save tires.
he controlled his tires so well that at the end of the run he was able to just drive by people like they were standing still and got him in position to win that race.
Yep.
And Kansas, that ended up not mattering because we had the late
The white
caution.
flag,
And
yeah.
yeah, you have the late caution, so you have the overtime finish, and the guys at the front of the pack all took two tires on the right side, so everyone was comfortable pushing at the end. But you have that a lot, and even Reddick earlier in the race, part of what helped him win that race is in stage 2 he was talking about feeling like, we're using too much of the right front. I have to back off and save this because there's a big problem at Kansas of cording your tires and getting cutting down your tire eventually on the right front. A couple years ago that cost Bubba Wallace a win when he was leading and blew a tire in the lead. It's something that happens quite a bit to fast cars out front because you overuse it. And he made a really smart decision to back down and lose some pace and lose a couple positions to make sure he didn't overdo that right front tire and put himself into the wall. And that pays dividends when you come back later in the race and you're able to push a little bit more and you haven't ruined your car.
Yeah.
If he over pushes in stage 2 trying to keep his position, might blow that tire, hit the wall, break a toe link, there goes your race. But by backing it down and taking your medicine early and being willing to do that, he put himself in position to win.
I think our F1 tangent definitely put us off by a little bit because we have one more topic to cover that I'm sure you're really excited to cover, and we're already at an hour. So, what are your thoughts on IMSA? I didn't catch the race. I made that known
So
in the
the
group
only thing I
chat.
want to talk
But
about is IMSA. So Honda
I didn't
again.
catch it, so I didn't catch it. I won't have much say.
Honda once again making dumb decisions and then winning. So it was reported this week that Honda is pulling out of IMSA Honda Acura. So their Acura is pulling out of IMSA, and it looks like they're probably going to end their entire hypercar program. And then they go out and win this weekend. And I'm just like, this is the most Honda thing ever. Like, oh, we're going to wind this down. We haven't been successful. And oh, look, we win
Now
at
we
Long
win.
Beach. And I mean, they're teamed up with Meyershank Racing. Meyershank's going to go somewhere else next year. It's just stupid. I'm so
It,
tired of Honda. I am really so fed up with the way Honda runs motorsports, and I kind of wish they'd just get out of motorsports at this point because I'm so tired of them getting involved,
and then
doing
pulling
all
out.
these things, and then pulling out without ever seeing the project through. They pulled out of Red Bull 2021 before Red Bull won the championship. They already announced, yeah, we're pulling out. Stupid. You go on and Max wins 4 titles in a row, and you've already decided that you're gone.
And then
Now,
they dilapidate their entire engineering program for F1 and then bring it back for Aston Martin, which has then set Aston Martin back.
yeah, now you have this Acura program going, which also used to involve Brendan Hartley. That's actually where I met Brendan Hartley a couple years ago at Daytona when he was driving for Acura. Um, you have this program. It took a few years for it to really piece together. Now it looks like they're teamed with a great team. It looks like they figured things out, and now you're going to pull out. Like I'm
Yep.
so fed up with Honda that the best thing that could happen for motorsports is Honda decides that they're just done with motorsports. Because every time they get involved in something, they do it half-assed, they do it wrong, and then by the time they get it right, they leave. And it messes up so many things. Where now you have again Meyer Shank having to find a new manufacturer, and it's such a pain in the ass.
And watch Honda come back in like 6 months, be like, yeah, we changed our mind, but we fired most of the people.
It's whoever's running Honda Motorsports must be like some of the most finicky people on earth because they just could not stick to a plan or a decision. And when you see the success of brands like Toyota, who through success and down years can manage to keep their crap together with both their Lexus and their Toyota brands, who have been wildly successful, both of them, it really makes you wonder what's wrong with Honda and why they can't figure it out. Hey, I did go on a rant today. Look at it. I'm back to normal.
You're back to normal. I want to end on a good note. Even though we're a motorsports podcast, I want to say that the Cavs are leading currently in the first quarter, 26-19 against the Raptors, and Cavs in 4.
Yeah, I got a buddy there tonight. I'm
I think this is
jealous,
the
very
I,
jealous.
I think this is the first season where I won't go to a playoff game. Not because I don't want to, but because my schedule doesn't match up. But the last
I have
handful of seasons I've
I
been
have
to
obvious
playoff games.
reasons why I'm not.
That's fair. That's fair. But it's packed. Yeah, we got 37
I did
seconds
get to
left.
go a couple years ago. I used to be a season ticket holder, and I went to when we played Orlando in the playoffs. Got to go to one of those games, and that was pretty awesome. That was my first playoff game that I got to go to.
I got my floor seat ribbon here. So
I was not quite floor seat. I was kind of by the club seat level,
that's
right under
still
the club
perfect.
seats. Oh yeah,
That,
yeah.
that-
Those were great tickets all year. Oh, I love those tickets. I
I've
hated that
I've
I had to
only
give it up, but they got expensive.
I've only been able to go to playoff games because I have friends that have like season tickets. And they always hit me up and be like, "Hey, you want to go?" I'm like, "Are you dumb? Yeah, I want to go."
I missed the I missed the early access to concerts I used to get having season tickets.
Maybe next season we'll go in on season tickets for the Cavs.
No,
We can
I
turn
think
this. We can,
if I get season tickets for anything again, I'm getting some season tickets for baseball
for the guards.
because oh the club seats are amazing there with they come with food and oh
I mean,
don't get me started.
I'd be down for some guards Cleveland
You,
guards season tickets. Like,
you can get like a quarter season for $1,000 and you get free food at every game and it's like gourmet buffet stuff like brisket,
oh,
steak, all
let's
you can
go.
eat, all you can drink. Me and my buddy Brett went for the Detroit playoff series 2 years ago. Unfortunately, the one where Clase gave up the 3-run home run at the end of the game. But let me tell you, oh my God, we went club seats for those. It was for the playoffs. It was like $200 a ticket for them, but it was worth it. All the free
Easy worth it.
food, free drinks, oh, we got there like you can get there 2 hours before the game starts and just load up on food and drinks. Everything's unlimited, barely any lines. Oh my God, that's the way to live. That's the
All
way to
right.
live.
So that's what we're aiming for. Let's monetize this. Let's monetize this shit so we can do that.
Yep.
But
All right, I
I
think
think
that's
that
probably a good place to end. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a great place to end. And as always, we appreciate everybody that listens. Thank you for tuning in, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it might be that you're listening on. As always, I'm Tyler,
I'm Josh.
and this has been the Unhinged Motorsports Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Bye.